And that is exactly what you're seeing here is by attacking these systems, going after identity, using the MFA pushes, you potentially could get an MFA push that allows you to add a device. So now the MFA push is coming to the actor's phone instead of coming to the user's phone.
Welcome to the Talos Threat Perspective. I'm Hazel Burton. Now, the Talos 2025 Year in Review is available now. And if you step back from the individual threats and look at the bigger picture, there is one theme that shows up time and time again throughout the report, and that is identity.
It's super fascinating. What attackers have figured out is there are easier ways to get into organizations through identity, and they can quickly, easily, look like a approved user, get in and then have basically static access.
So, in this episode of the TTP, we're going to look how that plays out in practice.
We saw identity centric targeting around network infrastructure. So we see attackers attacking application delivery controllers and management platforms to bypass MFA. In the MFA space, we saw a staggering 178 percent increase in device compromise attacks. So this is showing us that attackers are really looking for that persistent high trust access through identity.
And that persistence is key because obviously, when attackers get access, the next thing they want to do is to make sure that they don't lose it.
So, what we commonly see is you're going to go after the systems that allow you to add devices to your account. And that is exactly what you're seeing here is by attacking these systems, going after identity, using the MFA pushes, you potentially could get an MFA push that allows you to add a device. So now the MFA push is coming to the actor's phone instead of coming to the user's phone. Now they can get access on demand whenever they want it, and they don't have to worry about trying to get lucky.
So that removes the risk of the victim noticing like MFA fatigue or bombing attempts. And it allows the attacker to operate with a lot more stealth.
Which also means that those device registration workflows becomes a critical control point for defenders. Okay, so now we've got initial access, we've got persistent access. The next step for attackers is to extend that access. Now, one of the ways that they commonly do that is to go after the identity and access management applications. So, nearly a third of MFA spray attacks targeted these systems last year. That is a bit of an increase from 2024, and attackers are really just focusing on the tools that control user access.
I mean, it escalates things pretty quickly because then now the adversary has access at a much higher level and can escalate quickly into things that they shouldn't be into with proprietary data, into domain controllers where they can just suddenly they can just wreak havoc, have the keys to the kingdom very, very, very quickly.
And of course, we're really starting to see now how agentic AI can potentially amplify or scale attacks on identity and access management. So, from a defender perspective, how do you approach this? Let's say you're an organization, you're building agentic AI. How do you prevent those agents from being compromised?
It comes down to making sure that you are modeling your data access for agents similarly to how you manage your data access for users. The biggest difference is if you give a user extra permissions, they're probably not going to know that they're there unless they happen to stumble upon it. Agentic AI is going to immediately be like, oh, I have new permissions. What does that mean? What can I access? And we'll just flood down that path. So a mistake in permissions could be catastrophic. Your real goal here is if a agent gets compromised, it should be no different impact than a user being compromised.
Another increasingly common way for attackers to extend their access is through cascading business email compromise, otherwise known as internal phishing.
We've actually seen a huge increase in this, especially in the last few months. They'll take Outlook, create Outlook rules for obfuscation to hide their activity. So they'll send any replies to their phishing emails to the users, deleted items, or to a hidden folder. They will then try to, a lot of times, what we'll see is they'll start poking around. What does the user have access to? And start looking at documents on say SharePoint or shared drives, etc., and trying to look for other maybe proprietary information that they can use.
Now, from a defender's point of view, what often stands out at this point is a change in user behavior.
They'll suddenly see a huge spike from the compromised user. And that really indicates, hey, this user normally sends 15 emails a day, and suddenly we've got accounts sending 50, 100, 200.
And so what's really important is that you've got identity controls in place, but also things that allow you to monitor risk and monitor different identities and to change access privileges over time. And so identity now becomes something that we have to be monitoring actively and have dynamic controls around.
So, across all of this, the key thing to take away here is that identity is not just one part of an attack. Increasingly, it is what is allowing attackers to gain initial access, hold on to that access, extend it, and then operate in the environment as if they've been there all along. The 2025 Talos Year in Review explores these trends and a few more besides, alongside the data behind them. And you can download that now at blog.talosintelligence.com. In the next episode, we'll look at the speed at which attackers are now able to operate and the impact that this is having on defenders. We'll see you next time. Take care.